Hi guys, I'm 3/4 of the way through my morning coffee and I'm feeling like I'm ready to take on Lee, the 2000. I've battled her before, but she got the better of me. We're just going to play a normal Sicilian-y position, which is turned into an open Sicilian, I think. Yeah, open variation. I know my theory, guys. I'm going to try and learn a closed Sicilian, because I want some more tools in my armour, you know? Now, I always play this, which looks good to kick in the night, but honestly, it's overextending, and it creates a weakness, which is ready to be targeted by the queen and rook. So I've got to stop playing this. I've got to start just playing this flat structure, and flat structures tend to be super flexible, guys, especially in like an endgame where you can just block a king off, like these 4 pawns. Like if there's a king here, it cannot progress, you know, it forms a wall. So flat structures can be a useful tool. So if here, we've got that covered, we can do this. And now I've got to decide what I'm going to do with this bishop. And then I can maybe play this flat structure and get this bishop out. Maybe fianchetto in here would be a good idea. So it's whether I want to go, or I could even come out this way with the bishop. Right here. Target this pawn in the center. We would lose the knight if we did that. I think more natural is probably this. They kick me. We come back. We pivot. Okay. And now there's a lot of pressure on this knight, admittedly. So we can defend like this. Takes. Although, we are putting our queen in a bit of an alignment issue with this bishop. So, is there any checks? No. And actually, we could come in with check. So, I think it's okay. Yeah, knight's not got a check. Although, if knight does this, and we take, then the bishop hits our queen, right? So, yeah, no, that is an awful move. Glad we thought that one out. It felt bad putting our queen in this alignment issue. I just had to work out exactly how it was bad. So let's just defend this. And I'm definitely going to... Well, oh god. I wanted to take that because it's hitting my queen. But then we've got a pawn hitting the pinned piece. And we're already in a bit of a mess. Yeah. This creates another alignment issue. What about this, though, now? Check. They could go here. Because then they're... Oh, wow. We're in a bit of a mess. This. Oh, check. But if check, they've still got a lot of pressure here. I think it's got to be this or this, defending the knight. Don't like the fact this is an alignment issue. I don't like the fact this blocks our rook in. It's a lesser of two evils. Is this? Maybe? And at least we can kick the bishop. Urgently. If this. Check. I think that one's over. We just didn't get out the opening. I want to analyze that because that is a line I play a lot and I just got destroyed. I should know how to play the Sicilian by now. But admittedly, I've never actually looked at the theory past about move 4 or 5. So this is all fine. At this point I'm completely out of theory, so I did that. It's saying we should go after their bishop. Wow. I mean, I'd never have played that. I was just thinking to develop a piece. Oh, and yeah, this bishop is needed on this diagonal to get out of the pin. And then already it was lost. This bishop is needed here. Because this pawn isn't here defending. Yeah. All right, well, I've learned a bit of theory there, guys. So let's give Lee a rematch with our newfound knowledge in the open Sicilian. Maybe we can. Well, no, we're white, so it doesn't matter. But let's get aggressive. I don't want to play too long a game because I get a bit exhausted against these bots sometimes. Let's play a Ruy Lopez. It's where I'm most comfortable. And then just defend the pawn. So now we're threatening take. Take. And then we take this. But the thing is here in the Ruy Lopez, they take back with this pawn. If they take back with this pawn, then we can take this. However, the correct line is for black to recapture this way. And then the queen is open. So if we take, they open up the queen. Threatening this, also hitting the knight. So takes isn't quite working. But so we'll see, they'll play this. This is the correct line, yeah. So now we've got to defend against this move. So if we castle, we are once again threatening to do this. So they just defend the pawn. Now the other thing in the Ruy Lopez, we hate this pin here. So we're going to immediately stop that. And now we've just got a solid position. Yeah, the queen covers, so we're not threatening to damage the structure or anything. Maybe we kick this bishop, go for a bit of a queenside expansion, take a bit of space. So they immediately put a stop to that with this space gaining move of a5. And often grandmasters play like this, just to stop this expansion. But in this case, it would be supported by that doubled pawn. If here, we lose the rook. So change of plan. Maybe this, building at the center a little bit. Although we are a bit slow to get our pieces out. Maybe this and just hitting the bishop here. So they're saying if we hit that bishop, they're going to take and damage our structure. I might be happy with that, though. Might not be too bad. We could go taking some inspiration from the engine line we just saw, where they plopped the knight out to win the bishop. It looks a bit uneasy in my mind. But where does that bishop go? It has to retreat. We can always retreat back. Okay, so they're letting us take the bishop, which we like. And now what about we go after this bishop now? Can we have this one too? No. Okay, so Lee defends the pawn. Maybe we could target this pawn, because now the bishop's blocking the defending pawn. Yeah, I think we can win this. No, just add pressure. How do they defend that? They push it. Yeah, it's a pretty good move, actually. So now we reroute like this. It's a bit uncomfortable, isn't it? Now they're targeting this weakness, so we just kick the bishop first. Now this square looks strong for the queen to infiltrate on. So if this on pesant and take, but then queen takes at the end, maybe we shut down the queen here because I really don't like the idea of queen coming to this square and I want to get the knight out. Yeah, so let's just shut the queen down. Yeah, but that's the... Every pawn push, guys, creates another weakness. So yeah, that shut the queen down, but it increased the strength of these dark squares here. But now we can just try and trade this bishop off because this bishop is too strong on this outpost square. Great move by Lee, saying if we take, well, we're going to get... She's going to get a rook on this lovely outpost square. So replacing the strong piece with another one, or attempting to. And now saying that they're going to undouble the pawns. So this is instructive, guys. Lee is offering me trades, but on her own grounds. Not just trading for the sake of it. So at least we'll have a bishop here. But they're going to have either a really strong rook, which they're going to be able to pile pressure on this square and maybe win this pawn. Or just a strong pawn in the center. I hope they take with a pawn. Why did I just trade out my bishop? I was just saying I need to keep the bishop. Oh well, the bishop pair is much stronger than the knight pair, but one bishop is not that much stronger than a knight, if at all. This is probably okay. So if here, I'd like to support that move. So I could go queen here and support this pawn push. Also targeting this pawn. But I'm not really targeting this pawn because then they could go here and win my pawn. So is this break a thing? I think that works. Opens up my rook. Looks to activate my knight. Looks to hit the queen. So we can undermine the base of the pawn chain here in the center, but they can reinforce with this. I don't know how beneficial that is in terms of damage, in terms of actually capturing this pawn. But I think this is beneficial, guys, in terms of opening up the rook. Also hitting the queen looks tempting, but it seems a bit short-sighted. Like after the queen moves, I'm not sure what we're doing. The only thing with this, they take back with the knight, and then they've got continual pressure on this square, but I mean, we should be able to defend that pretty easily with a move like this. So let's try that. Is this knight threatening anything else? Don't think so. This just defends that, lines up here. Yeah, so they solidify the center. So we can hit the queen now, maybe prepare this. Going after mate. What about that? It doesn't really do much, does it? Bit worried about this backwards pawn here, but their pawn is actually helping me, you know. They can't target it because they've got a pawn in the way. Unless they went like this, but that's a bit of a faff. So, hit the queen, probably looks best. So I was thinking that to threaten mate, but queen covers. And now the queen's on a pretty strong diagonal. Not happy about that, but now we get this square. But then queen comes in. So what if here? Then we lose defense of this pawn. Yeah, it's hard to defend this pawn and come here. I wanted to come to this file to defend against this move. So maybe we defend the base of the pawn chain with a rook. Because this rook's not doing much here. This rook's happy on this open file, guys. So let's bring this rook. Also defending against this square for the queen. Queen's still looking to come on this square. So now if we did this, if queen came in, we could take. They'd have a very weak pawn on this square, which we could recapture. So yeah, this looks nice, just putting our knight on a gorgeous square. We'd also be hitting this at the same time, actually. So even like this, well, no, because queen take could cover, but say we could hit a pawn at the same time as hitting this knight, but there isn't any good double attacks. This hitting the rook, if they take, we take, and then we're hitting this pawn at the same time. Then they get another pawn towards the center, but then we get a fully open file for the rook. I hope you notice, guys, the level of thought I put into this game versus, you know, like the weaker bots. This is me really like trying. So that structure. No, because then they just take with the queen, and then we can't even take the knight. Let's just keep it simple. Put the knight on a nice square. Okay, so now this is a move, doesn't really do much. This hits the rook. After rook here. I'm not sure. So what about this? We can start to double the rooks. If here we take. That looks quite nice. I'm feeling pretty good, guys. Offering a queen trade, because that would hit the rook at the end of it. It would give them doubled pawns, but it's putting a pawn towards the center, you know, and these pawns aren't that badly doubled because it's a little clump. So again, Lee offering trade on her own terms. trades. And now, let's I don't really want to take the queen, but I'm not sure what else to do. This is what good players do, guys. They put you in these awkward positions where like rock and a hard place. So if this, they just take the queen. This, they take the queen. Yeah, we've not got a check. That's why they moved here, because I think this knight was threatening all sorts of checks and tactics. So they just moved the king. This. Because then if takes, we get a nice active king. Maybe. Looks cheeky, that, guys. Because, again, this is like doing the trade on my terms, you know? Yeah, you can take my queen, but then we get an active king. What about this? Doesn't really do anything, does it? But I think this was my best idea. I'm not sure. Okay, so they're just maintaining the tension. So what would this do? Threaten the queen and threaten this square, but this pawn is covering. If they push this pawn, we'd have this tactic: hit the queen, then hit the rooks. But they throw in this move and then move a rook, wouldn't they? So it wouldn't actually work. This pawn is protected. I'm a bit worried about this knight. This knight's pretty strong. So here, if take, then they just take the rook and they're winning. I was thinking this. Maybe we could get some activity with the queen, but they'd throw in the capture. So now this, does that make any difference? They're still hitting our rook. What about this little maneuver? They would have to go here. They wouldn't have many squares. That looks pretty nice. So where the more and more moves I throw in, guys, the more likely I am to just make a bad move. Actually, this is bad in light of takes, and then here. No, I was thinking that's a fork. It's not a fork. So maybe this is working. Right? Why did they take? Okay, so maybe they were just worried about this tactic against the queen. So now we can double up here. This knight is so strong, but so is ours. So this threatens this, but actually they're covering that square. So if takes, they're hitting our backwards pawn. Yeah. So this takes actually just gives us another weakness to defend. I'd rather them take... No, I wouldn't. Neither way is good. We take, they're hitting this pawn at the end of it. If we let them take, they're just winning this pawn. So what if we strike back? If I'm son, that's bad for us. Yeah, I'm not sure. Don't really have much of an option there, so I'm just going to do it. This hits the rook, they take. What about pulling the rook back now? I think this is better in light of maybe supporting this move, though. Let's try that. Oh no, because then we lose this pawn. So I think this. I'm feeling like she is starting to tighten the grip around my neck. So now they're hitting this pawn twice. So maybe this to defend the pawn, threaten. I don't know. This knight's already well placed. This would also defend the pawn, but then the knight could be kicked. So I think this is more solid. Let's try that. I'm feeling like I'm getting a little bit passive now. I'm a bit scared. So now this doesn't work because of the pin. Yeah, I didn't see that. So what have we got? We've got this, but again, this kicks the defender. Our knight has to go back, and then they take. What about this? Here we advance the king. At least we're getting some king activity as compensation for this pawn we might be losing. Let's try it. Didn't see that was going to be a check. But it's okay, isn't it? If here... Oh, but now they've got too much pressure here. Have got an advanced king, though. Okay, so they didn't like something there. Maybe I was threatening this. So now at least I've got time to defend this pawn, but then again, we're getting passive. If here they take this, we're just losing. This to pivot, I don't know. This is the only move that seems to try and hold on, but I didn't see that. This, because if takes, we lose the knight. Yeah, and now we've fully lost. So if here lose the knight, do we get anything? Get any counterplay? I just feel like I'm getting strangled right now, guys. This is horrible. Yeah, there's no way we can hold on to the knight, is there? Here? Well, yeah. We can hold on to the knight but lose the pawn. So let's try that. One last gasp of air before I get constricted. Oh, now there's anything is a revealed attack. So like this. Check. So we've got to move the king pretty much. Here, I don't know. Yeah, too many problems to solve there, guys, but that's my best effort against Lee, so don't know if I'm going to publish this one. Hope you enjoyed it. If I do, I'll see you next time. Cheers.